This week, midway into December, is when I officially start my annual planning process. I am a nerdy planner by nature, so this is something I actually really look forward to doing, and I actually began thinking about this in November or even earlier. So this new year feeling, it always feels like a fresh start, and my birthday is right at the very end of December, so for me, it feels like I get like this annual reset moment that way too. So every year I use this 12 card spread, and it's sometimes called the Zodiac spread or the 12-month tarot spread. And I use it as one way to look at the year ahead. So I thought it would be really fun to take you along step by step as I start to plan out my year, both personally and here professionally at the Simple Tarot using the specific tarot spread. So if you want to play along with me, and I highly suggest you do, get out your favorite tarot deck and a notebook and then get yourself comfortable. This video is for people who have a little bit of tarot reading experience, but even total tarot beginners will benefit. So I'm Angie from the Simple Tarot, which is all about creating tools, courses, and videos like this one to help you learn how to read tarot and then use the cards for creativity, self-care, personal development, whatever. So while I'm not sure planning counts as personal development, although I suppose there's elements of productivity and goal setting and personal awareness to it. So maybe that counts. I don't know. But I know for me, it definitely falls under the heading of self-care. So if you're not in the habit of regularly setting goals and planning your days, your weeks, and your months around those goals, then this practice right here can significantly improve the quality of your life and the quantity of time in your days, or at least usable, focused, important time anyway. So where do we start? Well, this video is going to get insanely long. If I walk you through my entire step-by-step annual planning process, it's crazy long. But basically every year, every quarter actually, I follow the steps outlined in Sarah Cannon's HB90 quarterly planning method with a few tweaks of my own. So I'll share more about that HB90 planning course at the end of this video if you want to join me next week in planning for the first quarter of 2021 together. And of course, the link will be in the description too. But so basically, by the time I've gotten to this step in my annual planning, where I'm ready to use this 12-card tarot spread, I've already figured out a few things. So number one, I've reviewed and recommitted to my big goals, those 3 to 5 year goals, and I've gotten even more clarity about them. So right now, personally, I'm working on 3 big goals, each one in an area of health, wealth, and self. I know, I just like the way it sounds. So number 2, I have done a review of what worked and what didn't work over the previous 12 months, really focusing on the previous 3 months this last quarter. But especially, I'm focusing on my goals and my tasks and my projects, how well I did as it relates to reaching those 3 big goals. Number 3, I have brain dumped every single project and task and niggly idea in my brain. I don't like them cluttering my brain, so I've put these all onto paper so that I don't have to think about them. I know I will deal with them later in a future step in my planning process. Okay. And I should say that tarot cards have helped with all of the above steps in different ways. But now that I've done those 3 steps, I am ready to do this 12-card year ahead spread. Now, those 3 steps using my tarot cards, if you want me to go more detail into how I use my cards for them or how I figure them out, just drop a comment down below and I can do a future video about that topic or about that phase of my planning process. I know this sounds like a lot, but the HB90 planning method actually walks you through all of this step by step over the course of a week or so. So it's actually really, really easy to do. I do not want you to get overwhelmed before we even start this tarot spread, okay? All right. Now, this spread can be read in multiple ways. The 12-month spread is great if you're looking for some hints about what might happen to you in the future, reading 1 card for each month of the upcoming year. Obviously, that style of reading is for divination or trying to tell the future, and I don't read my cards for divination, so that's not how I choose to read it. Instead, I'm using the 12 houses of the zodiac as a framework, with each of the 12 cards representing one house, or one area of my life. And because I have these 3 big goals right now, health, wealth, and self, I could either use 1 card for each house or 3 cards for each house. In each house, a card for self, a card for wealth, and a card for health. So if you use 3 cards, you're actually going to lay down a total of 36 cards instead of 12. For simplicity's sake, I'm just going to use 12 cards and walk you through a simple sample tarot reading. So first, do whatever you need to do to get yourself into a quiet, focused headspace. Do whatever you need to do to relax and ground yourself in this moment. When I do this spread, it usually takes me at least 30 minutes to really give it time to work its magic. And I like to take even longer just because I love to journal and dive deep into it. But whenever you feel safe, relaxed, focused, and comfortable, shuffle your deck thinking about the year ahead and the big goals that you've set. So lay out your 12 cards or whatever multiple of 12 you are using in this layout shown here. Now get out your journal and we are ready to go through the cards one by one. I usually keep my cards face down until I'm ready to read them, but you could turn them all face up. It doesn't matter. And for this spread, I usually do read tarot reversals if they showed up as reverse cards, but for keeping things simple, I'll be reading every card upright. And if you're a tarot beginner, that's absolutely fine to do. You do not need to read the reversals. So let's get started. Card 1 is in the first house of the zodiac, which represents your identity. This card represents your personality and general attitude towards life. It's sort of how you express yourself outwardly into the world, how you see yourself and how others see you. It also indicates your physical health and your appearance. The card that I have in this position is the King of Wands. So thinking about my first wealth goal, what does this card have to share with me? For me, I think this card is telling me that it's time to finally step into the role of being a leader and make myself more visible when it comes to the simple tarot and my other wealth building activities. Related to my health goal, the King of Wands is a healthy and active card, and since it's a court card, it can often relate to someone in your actual life. And in my life, in real life, IRL, I know someone who is actually a King of Wands who I can ask for help. She's already in my life and she works as a personal trainer and coach. So I just need to reach out and ask her for help in crafting this healthy identity for myself. Make sense? Finally, related to my self goal, which is really about bringing more joy and pleasure into my own life, this card is telling me to go out and just get it. To stop being a victim of 2020 or anything else and to just take control of my own joy. Basically, because this position relates to my identity, this card is telling me to become the King of Wands in my own life. No more hiding. So do you see how this works? Now, if you're going to do 1 card for each of your big goals, we'll go through this first house identity section in the same way, just using a different card for each goal. Makes sense. Now moving on to card 2, your resources. This is the house of the zodiac that represents your money house. It shows your relationship to money, but also personal possessions and security. It is the house of overall self-worth as well. It also reveals your priorities in life, especially as it relates to what you value. I pulled the 5 of Pentacles, which is pretty much the last card you want to see in this position. So let us forge ahead. For my wealth goal, I see this card as a reminder to make sure that I am playing defense as well as offense with my money. So bolster up my savings, make sure I'm well insured, and pay off as much debt as I can. Don't use my money to reach out big goals, but instead take care of what I already have. For the health goal, it's similar. For my health goal, I'm going to make sure to do those boring yet responsible things like make sure I get my health checkups, visit the dentist, and get some movement every single day. I need to remember I am playing the long game, and this isn't a game that you play to win. It's a game you play so that you want to keep playing when you wake up the next morning. So that's how I would read this awful card for my health goal. But for my self goal, this one is a little harder to read, especially since I haven't already shared too many of the details about what my particular goals are, and I'm not, sorry. But I could read this card as a reminder to take care of my inner mindset health as well as my outer physical health. Fear and worry about the future is never a useful, helpful, or positive way to spend time. So, but useful. Now, card 3. This is the house that represents your environment. The third house is all about your extended family, your neighbors, and who you know, the space and people around you. This does include siblings, grandparents, cousins, and the whole mess of people, but it does not include your parents, your spouse, or your kids. So the third house also covers like where you live and your environment, including your daily travel and commute, if you're lucky enough to have one, or not lucky enough to have one, I guess on how you look at that. All forms of communication and writing also fall under the third house. So letters, phone calls, emails, messages, books. And this card, I have such great luck. In this position, I have the Death card. This card is actually about rebirth, and so it's really a lovely card to see despite most people's immediate reactions to it. I always think of the phoenix, which burning itself down to nothing so that it can be reborn into something new and better. So, for my wealth goal, I'm asking myself what needs to die and be reborn. There are a few simple tarot products and offerings that I'm ready to retire, including our Patreon channel. So this card is a reminder to be brave and get rid of the old wonderful things so that something new and even better can come into its place. It's hard, but rebirth is always hard. This health card is actually a harder read. So my health goal is to be stripper hot at 45. So I'm going to have to burn down a lot of old bad habits, patterns, and half-assed gym routines if I'm going to see some real change. All right, I know it. I don't want to do it, but it's so worth it. It's so important. So for my self goal, now what needs to die so that something new can be reborn in its place? In my case, I think it's comfort that needs to die. It took me a while to figure out this one, but I've created a very lovely, very comfortable, easy life. And as wonderful as that is, I do not want to stay stuck here. I need to let go of some of that comfort if I'm going to grow. Now, I am not going to go through the rest of the 12 cards one by one because I think you understand by now how I use this tarot spread. So if you are playing along, here are the 9 remaining houses of the zodiac. And if you're interested in what I do after I use the information from this spread, jump to the end of this video where I'm going to go over that too. So real quick, here's the remaining 9 houses of the zodiac. The 4th card represents your home and family. The 4th house shows information about your relationships at home, specifically with your parents or children. This house is for your attachments, your roots, your domestic life, and your emotional security as it relates to your family. The 5th card, or the 5th house, relates to your creativity. So this is about what you create and how you solve problems. It also shows you what you love, and how you translate your passions into the material world. The 6th card represents your daily work. So this 6th house of the zodiac reveals how healthy you are. So think nutrition, self-care, personal hygiene, and the like. The 6th house also includes your everyday routine. So like those habits and daily exercises and activities that you regularly do. So for this year ahead tarot spread, pay particular attention to this card, the 6th, because a lot of your success next year will be related to your daily actions. It's a very important spot on the spread. So for the 7th card, your partnerships. The 7th house reveals your attitude about partnerships, romantic and otherwise. So if you're romantically involved with someone, this card is about them, usually. And if not, consider all of your deep friendships, even like sometimes openly declared enemies, are technically partners in a sense. So like think expansively when you address this card, not just your one romantic partner if you have one. Now your 8th card is about your secrets. The 8th house is for the things that no one really likes to talk about publicly, death and sex and taxes. Yeah. So it's the house for your primal life force and your sexual energy. This is not about love making. That's all in the 5th house, but this is more about lusty passion for your life, all bits of life, and for living life. The 9th card is your growth. The 9th house holds your dreams and where you grow and all of the ways you can expand yourself. This includes religion, philosophy, long-distance travel, and education. It's another card to pay particular attention to when you're goal setting and planning. The 10th house, your career. So the 10th house is about how you are fulfilling your dreams and self-expectations. This includes your financial position, your career, and your public image. So are you living up to your own expectations? The 11th card is your community. The 11th house covers your casual friends, your acquaintances, and social connections. It's how you interact with the world and live your generosity or your scarcity. The 12th card, your shadow self, is the final card in the spread, and the 12th house is your 12th house is the house of your unconscious mind. So it shows your burdens and your secret fears, your self-imposed restrictions and limitations, and your hidden enemies and hidden dangers in your life. So this card asks, are you living up to your true, real potential? So if you're stuck on any of these cards, you can pull an additional 13th card to give you clarity. I usually don't, because I find that when I think long enough, I can usually find an answer from the first card in the spread alone. I don't know. For me, that 13th card feels like cheating. It's not, but you do you and I'll do me. It's the way it works. So now this is the 12 card year ahead spread, but how do you actually use it when you're starting to think about planning your year ahead? So right now, if you've been playing along, you have lots and lots of notes and possibilities. I consider this only as guidance, not absolute advice. These are just possible next actions I could take. But I find that by doing this spread, I'm able to come up with next actions that are braver and more impactful and more in line with my true big goals than I would have thought up on my own. It is absolutely magic. So what do I do with these possible next action steps? I take them and I add them to the brain dump list of projects and tasks that I mentioned earlier in this video. So the list just keeps growing longer and longer and longer. Now, once I've got that list, I turn back to the HB90 method for my next steps. So the HB90 course walks you through organizing all of these possible next actions and then identifying which are important to you over the long-term big goals and which are urgent and time sensitive and which ones are just not very important at all. It is a really good system. I love it. But it's not really as complicated or as overwhelming as I'm probably making it seem. Sarah Cannon, the creator of this course, she walks you through everything step by step. And there's this great community of current and former students who participate every quarter. So you always have people to ask for help or just cheer you on. And this is not something you do in a day. The course itself is spanned over a week. Plus you have some pre-work. So it's best to join as quickly as possible so you can get that out of the way too. It's really systematic and step by step. I don't know how else to say it. So if you're interested in checking it out, I'll put a link for the HB90 course down in the description. Sarah offers this course every quarter, since it's about quarterly planning for the 90 days ahead, but it's really only available for the 1 week before that 90-day quarter starts. The course for this quarter officially starts on December 13th, but like I said, there's a bit of pre-work involved, so I suggest you join as early as you can so you can get that stuff out of the way. It's not hard, it's actually just visualizing and dreaming up your ideal life, so how fun is that? So I would love to have you join me in the course. And as a little bonus, of course, if you sign up through that link below, I will share with you the tarot spreads that I use together with the HB90 planning method every single quarter. So you've already learned one of the spreads, the year ahead spread, but there are 4 more, and I find them to be so helpful in getting real clarity on my goals and then defeating those awful bits of mind trash that always seem to pop up when I start dreaming big things. And of course, I am always here to help you answer any of your questions, so ask them down in the comments below. And I cannot wait to see you inside HB90, where we're going to dream big and then plan a fantastic 2021 together. I will see you there.